Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Ives number 70 A92 hinge pin doorstop. This is a piece of aluminum, and I have one removed from the package that's fully assembled. This is a hinge pin doorstop. It's made of aluminum. The A92 is an aluminum type finish. This will sit into on top of the hinge barrel. The hinge pin will go down through the hole. There's a bushing here for that in case you have a thinner hinge pin like you'd see on a 3-inch hinge perhaps, or a 3.5. A couple of replaceable and removable stops. The degree of opening is set by how far you're going to thread that bolt in or out. This will work for stop points between 85 and 125 degree. Stop point. Used on hinge doors where installation of a standard door stop is not desirable. So doors ought to have a door stop on it to prevent damage to the door, to the surrounding wall, to the frame, to people, etc. The problem is, in certain instances, it's impractical to add a baseboard mount or a floor mount, and it might be impractical or impossible to prep the door for an overhead surface mount or an overhead concealed sort of doorstop. Hinge pin doorstops are incredibly common. I happen to believe that they're not the best choice ever, but the best choice is usually an overhead stop, which is either mortised or surface mounted. The cost is a factor of 100 times more. Installation is a problem, mortising is a problem, retrofitting it to an existing is typically not possible. So a hinge pin doorstop is a necessary sort of piece of hardware to have because it is most often used in instances where they're convenient and they're fairly effective, but sometimes they're used when there's no other method and they are either relatively up to the task or they're completely inappropriate for the task, but they're used in both cases. Now the 70 is this style. Ives has the 69 style as well. Same function, just a different design. It's got two radiused plates that interlock together like this. And you unscrew them and bolt them together depending on the size or the degree of stop that you want. So let me give you some dimensional properties of this item. Just generically, from the center line of the hinge pin down to the stop is about 2 3/8. Down in this direction, it's going to be about 1 5/8 inches. Okay. Now the hinge pin size. The question is, how thick of a hinge pin can I fit in here? Caliper says that the inside opening of that is 0.316. 0.316. When you add the bushing to it, that will make the inside dimension 0.249. 0.249 inch here. So basically 1/4 inch or 5/16 is roughly what it is. Designed for a narrow trim installation is where you're going to see the 70, where you have a wall condition. You might have, here's a scenario, a kitchen door. Kitchen door is left-hand and opens in. Right behind there is an island. There is cabinetry behind on the wall. Sometimes they'll take that ranch casing and have to rip it down just so that the door can fit into that space. That would be a narrow trim condition. Anything that is, probably 1 inch or so, I would opt for a narrow trim design. Or if you're not opposed to the look of the 70, just go with 70s everywhere and it will work out just fine for you. What they're saying is the dimension from here to the center line is smaller, allowing you to get that stopped against a piece of trim that would be considered narrow, rather than the version of the 69 from Ives. High quality rubber stops. This part number is very common for us to sell. And that part number is I'm going to pause this video while I find the part number. Certainly you want to know that. It's far more common to sell the tips than it is to sell the entire unit, so stand by. Okay, that part number is 09-310. You can search that part in the website and you will find the Ives replacement tip that is used for that. Okay, very typical and common item. They're sold as each. Quite frankly, if you expect to have any sort of use on the door whatsoever, buy some 09-310 tips, put them on the shelf. It'll certainly be a lot less expensive to buy them with this in terms of freight than it is otherwise. Okay. The extended description below this tells us that it is an easy installation, provided you can drive the pin out. Typically you'll see this on the top hinge, sometimes on the middle hinge, but generally on the top, less prone to someone touching it, maybe someone who's a child. Easy installation, pop that pin out on top, drive the pin down. This is made of aluminum. These are available in solid brass as well, which would be a part number 70B. So there is a link below this video to the manufacturer's page. Pardon me. There's a link below this video to a document called Product Brochure, where you can pull up a lot of the standard stops from Ives. And the 70 is on page 2 of that document, and that will show you the different finishes that it is made in. There are several in aluminum: a polished brass, a satin brass, an antique brass, a satin bronze, an oil rub bronze, a polished nickel, antique nickel, a unichrome, and a Venetian style bronze, white, and then a black finish, or a very dark finish. In solid brass, again, it'd be a 70B. You'd be looking at polished brass, satin brass, antique brass, satin bronze, oil rub bronze, satin nickel, antique nickel, black, polished chrome, and satin chrome. So lots of finish options on these, and you're going to see that because it's commensurate with a residential application where there's lots of different finish options that you'll see in a home versus in a commercial setting. There is finally, or tantamount, there's a link below this video to a document called Instructions. It's what has been published from Ives in terms of detailing the installation instructions. We've covered that verbally. Then finally, there's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Ives products that we sell, but a link to the manufacturer's website, along with a link to the manufacturer's product catalog. Now, the summary of Ives is this. They're a name that is synonymous with trim and auxiliary hardware and has been for several decades. If you are a contractor, general contractor, you will find industry acceptance of the name Ives, high quality trim and auxiliary hardware. However, what you may not have used from Ives, and I would recommend that you take a closer look at, is Ives does a real good job with pivots, center hung offset pivots, great quality, very heavy weight capacities, very easy to understand installation instructions. Almost when you look at them, there has to be more than this. Well, when you study it further, you realize, nope, it's all there. So I like their pivots a lot, having machined lots of doors for pivots. The approach that Ives has on their center hung and offset pivots is fresh, and you'll be able to review that there. There's also a link to the master template book on the Ives page. If you have any questions on the Ives number 70 and an A92, which is like a unichrome style finish, or any other Ives product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you very much.